Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Knights of the Alternate Histories. In today's episode, what if Britain didn't colonize? Now, this could be considered the 1,000 subscriber special. It was recommended a lot over in the Discord, so make sure to join. And yeah, I forgot to record this, so we have an hour speed run. Let's go and get this over with. So once again, thank you guys for subscribing, and let's get into the alternate history. So without Britain colonizing, the map would look like this. The light green, well, that's of course is Portugal. The light blue, Sweden. The orange, the Netherlands. Brown, Denmark. That purpley color, that is the plain Confederation. You can guess Spain and France. The yellow is the Cherokee Nation, and that purple is the Iroquois. Now, there would be an anti-French club versus a French club, with Sweden and all the minor nations being like, no, France, we want you gone, please leave. And Denmark, still rivals with Sweden, would be like, you're cool, but I also hate the French. And Russia just being Russia. This would overall just be terrible for them. So, you all know where this is going. A war. And this war would mainly be to kick Portugal and the Dutch out. Well, not really. It wouldn't be an American war, rather, but a world war, as we'll cover in later videos, because this is gonna be a long series. This would all about being trying to conquer Dutch land, conquer the Portuguese Empire, and generally just get more territory. Spain, being Florida, having its dangerous jungle, would kind of leave it undefended and let the Swedes march in, just dying along the way. And through that Toronto area, I don't know the exact name, I'm sorry, would just come down crushing everyone. Just trying to defend it, and France would just try and defeat Portugal no matter what. So, anyways, Portugal would get knocked out of the war. They'd be like, okay, yeah, we surrender. But meanwhile in Europe, the Dutch homeland would be overwhelmed, and they would also be kicked out. This would just end up being horrible for the Swedish alliance, and they would have to pull back some of their troops to try and help defend. So, with the war being over, well, Sweden would annex parts of French territory and Florida, well, most of Florida, and the Great Plain tribes, they would annex part of Portuguese territory, and, oh, what's this, a new territory on the map? Oh, of course, that's the United Dutch States, because the Dutch would be annexed. Oh, hey, and what's this? Denmark thinking Sweden's weak again, and they can invade them? Well, guess what? They can. Oh, but Sweden's gonna be stronger. And this would be an American war, because it would be deciding over the fact of the American colonies, basically. Because they would think, oh, they just lost a bunch of troops in that region. Let's just take them out. And, well, absolutely nothing happens, because they're not smart enough to sell up the East Coast yet, and to try and land. There would be some small attempts, but it would just be end with gunfire, and Denmark would try the same, just gunfire, and overall, it would be a waste of time and effort, so they would need someone to invade them through. Hey, United Dutch States, come over here! Fighting with their old comrades once again, they would quickly push north and try and take down everyone who stands in the way. The Danes, not prepared for another nation joining the war, especially one that's now defending on their home soil and not just some random American territory, would start losing almost quite instantly. This would be quite horrible for them, and they would need to keep on fighting. they would just keep pushing more and more northward until eventually they would almost break through Maine. And the Danes, not being prepared for this, would just have their armies encircled time and time again. And now Sweden, back in Europe, which I'm not going to show till the end of the series, would just say, okay, you know what? You're pretty cool, but we're going to fight on because winter is coming. Now, with the Danes pulling their army out, this would just become faster and faster trying to take this out. And the Swedes would love it. They would promise the United Dutch States so much territory for their fighting and just being so helpful in general. Because the Danes wouldn't really have any big towns except for maybe a couple of small ones that don't really care too much about being Danish. And Nova Scotia would start being invaded, which would be one of their most valuable provinces. And they would make the quick jump across the bay and just be able to start invading. The Danes would have no idea what hit them. They thought this would be a short war where they just try and swim over, get shot, swim back, and maybe make a beach landing. Not for the Dutch to invade and just take them out. And more people would just get overwhelmed and start to surrender. They would just fight and fight and fight, trying to make a difference in the world and try and kick Denmark out. They would start encircling more and more mass quantities of troops, but Denmark would keep on fighting because the Danes wouldn't want to be controlled by the Swedes. At this point, Denmark would accept that they can't win, but they would at least keep Greenland safe. They'd be like, okay, Greenland's too important to us, so we're just gonna fortify a bunch of forts along that coast. And even though it's just a winter wasteland, we're gonna keep it because Canada is obviously also, even though it wouldn't be called Canada, and we should just surrender completely. And these would be the new borders. The United Dutch States would take a lot of territory, and the most useful bit of territory, and Sweden would get the North Territory. This would cause some tension with the United Dutch States as they would feel kind of surrounded by Sweden and would not want to become a Swedish puppet, but would do as they say to not get conquered. Now Sweden would have the upper hand in North America with France, as they could just blockade and block the troops from coming both in the north and south. And France would be super mad about this. And both of these great kingdoms would prepare to fight in one glorious battle that we will not see for a while. And once they were done, they would see not this coming because it would come. Revolution. Oh, I hate being sick, yeah. But anyways, there would be a revolution and everyone would die. The kingdoms would not see this coming. It would just be a great sweep of revolutions wanting their independence or wanting something that could actually work rather than just being a colony that's constantly going to war and switching hands between kingdoms. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. I didn't realize at the start of recording, but I am sounding a bit sick and my throat is hurting, so I'm sorry that you get this terrible voice. And yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure to like and subscribe and join the Discord. Links always in the description. And wow, that's so chill. I bet no one ever watches the end of these videos. So say potato if you do. You know the drill. On the left, that's my most recently uploaded. On the right, that's a video YouTube thinks you should watch for some reason.